All right, hello, my name is Casey Mills, and this is going to be my tutorial on Amazon Honeycode and one of the things that you can do with it. So, Honeycode apps, some of the things that you can do are build business apps with low or no coding, which is really helpful for someone like me who's going into the business analytic route and knows coding but isn't an expert. It's really helpful for me. You can run these apps on web and mobile. You just get the mobile app by downloading Honeycode on iOS or Android. You can have it automatically send notifications, and you can use it to manage business workflows. So there are 3 steps to create Honeycode apps. The first is to create spreadsheet tables to act as database tables for your apps, and these just store your application data. Then you create app screens based on those tables using the Honeycode app builder, which allows you to drag and drop different UI components and attach formulas, and it's really user friendly. Lastly, you can add automations if needed. An example would just be using a notification, like I mentioned before. And this is an example of the app that we'll be creating. It's just a time reporting app. So this first screen here, this just shows when you log in on the iOS app, you can click on this work log. This is the app that we'll make. And then this is just a screenshot of some of the things that the app will entail. All right, so here is the Honeycode login page. If you don't have an account, obviously you have to create one. I'm sure you all know how to do that, so I won't walk you through it, but I'll just log in here. And while I'm doing so, I'll also mention that this is a very simple app, but it's really effective in showing the basic functions and uses for Honeycode. They definitely, though, can get a lot more complex. So now that I'm in, this is the landing page, and this will show you different apps that you have if you already have them. Obviously, we don't, so there's nothing here. But down here it says create your first app, and we'll click on get started. Now you get some choices here. You can either use different templates or start from scratch. I'm going to start from scratch, so come down here and I'll click on use a classic builder and then start from scratch. And we're just going to title this workbook as Time Logger because we're just going to create some time logging applications, so really simple. And then it automatically creates this team for me just with my name, Casey Mills Team. So I'm going to create this. There, now it's created. You can see my workbook up here, Time Logger, and it creates this default table as table 1. As you can see, it looks and functions pretty similar to an Excel worksheet. Like I said, by default, it creates that table 1, but we can click on it and rename it. So we're going to do so. And we're going to just rename it work logs. So I'll click there and go work logs. And then now when I look again, if I click over here on tables, you can see that now it's titled as work logs. So it's been renamed. So now let's go ahead and add some columns to our work logs table. You can easily change them by clicking on the header, just kind of like Excel, and renaming it. So the first column we're going to do is employee. Be the name of the employee that records this work log. The second column is project. Third one will be date. Then I can click on the plus icon right here to add a new column. So I'll do so. And we are going to name this one description to describe what they worked on for the project. Then we're going to create one called time in. And this will be to record what time they started. Similarly, we'll create one called time out to record what time they stopped working on this project. All right, so now we need to set some data formats for these columns. So for column A, we can just click on the letter A to highlight the column. And we click on settings here up in the toolbar. Oh, right there, sorry. And once we click on settings, we can format and oh, there we go. Okay, so the format over here, we want to assign this as contact because the employee is going to be a contact. So we click on the drop down arrow. We scroll down here for contact. And down here you get some display preferences, which just shows you how you want to display the data. And here I'll just select the one that shows their name and their email. And then you just click out of it and it'll update that. So this function, it just allows you to pick different users from your workspace. You can add different members to your team, and I'll show you a bit more about that later. And this will allow you to just select them here when filling out this form. So now I'll click on Now that I'll click on this X right here, and you'll see that these drop down arrows come. And I'm the only one in my team right now, so you can just click on my name, but you can see it'll populate, and you can drag this out, and you can see it more fully. Really quick, I guess, to show how to add team members, I'll just go down here and click on Teams, and then I just click on my team because this is the one I want to add members to. And then here it's pretty simple. You can just click on Add Team Member, and you just put in their email here. So I'll just give my other email really quick so that I can accept that later. And I just want my other email to be a member on this team. So then I just click Invite. And once they create an account and accept the invite, their name will show up here on your team as well. Right now it says invited, but they'll just show as a member. Also note there's a 20-person limit for the free plan of Honeycode. So after that, we need to upgrade the plan. But for all that we're going to be doing, this is going to be totally free. So now I'll just go back to my workbook by clicking workbooks here and going back to time logger. Now we're back in that table I created. So just to show you, oh, I guess I have to accept it, but that's where that other one will be once I accept it. Let me pause and go accept it really quick, and then I can show you. All right, so now that I've accepted that, I can go down here and see the other teammate is here. And it's just my name again, but you can see the two different emails so that you know they're two different teammates. For this one, I could select that one. All right, now back to formatting. Let's go to the project column, and I want the employees to pick a project from a pick list or a drop-down list in this one. So we'll highlight this, click settings. So to do this, we will, actually for this one, we're gonna go to wizards, and we'll go to the data modeling section and create pick lists. Then it asks to create pick lists for, so we choose the table that we want to create it for, which is our work log table. Then it asks for which column, So we want it to make a pick list for our project column. So just click project, pretty simple. And then it asks if we want an existing or new table. Well, I don't have an existing table, so I'll just create a new one. And then I click apply, and then go. So after the wizard runs, it creates a new table, and we should be able to see that by clicking on the tables on the left-hand side. And this one will be called work logs project. And I can rename it also if I'd like, but I like the work log project because it shows it's attached to my work logs, but this one is the project one. And for now, we can just create our project name. So simply, I'll create project A for the first example, and then project A. And then with this plus to add a new row, this one will be project B. Lastly, one more as project C. Right, now these other columns right here, they just show how many times that each project is being referred to in the other table. So if I go back to this work log table, you can see it just auto-populated these all as project A. So that's why in this work logs one, it has 3 here, but those haven't been used yet. So now let's go back and format our date column. So again, we're just going to highlight this one, click settings, and then go over to format. This one obviously is a date format, and there already is one, so we want to click on date right here. And again, we get a display preference, and we can choose which one we want. I like the simple one that's just a couple numbers, so I'll click on that one. Now for the next column, description, this will just be some text, so I'll format that as plain text by going to settings and then plain text. Next for time in, this is about time. So there's also because there's also a default format for time, we'll just click that and then go down to time. And then notice there's some display preferences here. Again, I kind of just like the simple one with the PM, so I'll do that. And we will do the same for timeout as well. Go down to time. Now, those are all formatted, and then these are just kind of unnecessary rows that I was using to show you. So I'm just going to go right click on these, delete these rows, delete table row. Same for these. All right, so now we have our workbook created and it's got all our columns and it's formatted how we want. So now we can create the app that will allow users to fill this form out. So we'll click on Builder here and we'll click on the plus icon. And this will come up with two different options again, and we can either use an app wizard, which are the different sets of pre-configured app screens, or we can build from scratch, manually adding objects. For this one, I'll just start using the app wizard, and it'll give you this little video that you can watch that'll kind of walk you through the steps. But over here on the right side, we can start by choosing our source. We want to choose our work log, so that will just be work logs. Our work logs table, and that's just because that's the main table that we just made where users can create their work log. So now through the wizard, it's going to walk us through multiple screens. First is the list screen, a list of items. Then it'll be a detail screen, and if you click on a particular item in the list, it'll show detail about it. And then a form as well, which is used to create new items to the table. So for this first screen, we can change the list screen name, and let's change that to project time logs right here. Project time logs, and you can see that it updates right there, and it's added the sorry about that. Then you can see under this data section, it has added the columns we made in our work log table. So here I'm going to delete the employee column just by clicking this X, as well as the description column, as they're kind of just taking up a lot of space on this screen, and on our phones they don't have as much real estate as on a computer. So I delete the employee, and then I'll delete the description. So now it's just a little better looking on this main screen right here. Then I'm going to click on next. And on this screen, as I talked before, we can just change the work log detail name to just details. So I will do that. Details. And make sure that it shows all the columns here under the detailed data. So we want them all to display here, even though they won't display on the app screen. We want to make sure they're here, and they are. So then I'll click on next. And then this page is the form, which is what employees will use to add a new entry, and that will be uploaded to that work log table that we created earlier, the one that looks like the Excel spreadsheet. Here I will also remove the employee form because our application is smart enough, and we're going to tell it to fill out the user to be whoever's logged into the account and filling out the form, so they won't have to manually click down when they're in the app and select who they are. We want it to automatically fill that, so we will just click on the X to get rid of that. And once we've done that, we can go down here and click done. And at the bottom of the screen there's a view app button, so let's click on that. So this screen shows a list of the time logs that have been entered. Obviously none have been entered yet. I also have this search bar, this little search icon here on the right hand side. Then what I can do is click on add. And this will take me to the form that users will use to add their project time log. Here I'll just create a sample one, and I can do that by, say I'm working on project B, date, I can click on this and it gives me a nice calendar. And so let's just say we did it today. Description is just test. Time again, you can just click this, it'll give you this really nice thing. So we started this, let's just say at 10. We did it till noon. And then we can just click on done. Now you can see that test item here has been filled out in our project time log. This will be the screen again that users will see. However, as we took them out earlier, it doesn't say the employee's name or that description, but we can double check that it got added correctly by going back to our original table. So we go over here, just click done, tables and work logs. And now that we're here, we can see project B and test. It does say our test. It didn't fill this out, however, because we removed it from that form. But what we want is for when that user enters the new time log again, that it just automatically is entered because they're logged in. We can set that up by using automation. So to do this, let's go to the builder icon again and then go to our work log app. So right here we click builder and our work logs. And then this will open up the designer. So on the left side, you can see all the screens that the new app is added. The project time log screen, details screen, the work log underscore project details screen. So from these tables, I will select the project time log form. Sorry, it's this work logs form that I'll click on. And if we scroll down, we can see this done button. And when we click on that, these button properties open up. And here there are three columns, data, display, and action. And on display here, the visibility is set to true, which just means it's being shown on this screen, this button is. But what we want to do is click on actions and then click on edit automation. So these automations are for the done button. Whenever somebody fills out the form and clicks done, the automation will start running. Here it says start, which again is by clicking on that done button. So it starts it. Once you click done, it starts the automation. And then it says it's going to add a row to our work log table. And it shows that it's going to take whatever the user selects, project A, for example, and it's going to add that project A to that work log table as a value, which we showed before. I selected project B, but it's going to do the same for date, description, etc. However, as you can see, it's not adding anything to our employee column. It's doing it for the time in, the time out, the description, but not the employee one because we took that out. So I want to go down to the bottom and click add another. And I want to populate a value for employee, and that value will be the logged in user. So there are some global variables that we can access within our Honeycode application. So for example, to get the current logged in user, we can start by typing in equals. And that will open up a dropdown that contains variables, tables, columns. Then next we start typing in system, so SYS. And we should see it says system user right here, and that will be the current logged in user. So we select that. And then I take the value, which is the logged in user, and I want it to write to the employee column. So I go down to select and click employee. And we can just leave it as add a value. So now when we click out of that, let's go check it out. So first I'll go to our work log table and remove that incomplete log that we tested earlier where it didn't record the employee's name. So just go back to tables and do that. Again, right click, delete table row. Then we'll go back to builder and click on our work logs app. And then up here in the top right corner, we can view app. Here, we'll see if that employee column automatically populates. So we'll add another. And we'll just select project C this time. And you can manually type in a date if you want. Or again, I'm going to use this handy selector, description, test number 2. Again, let's do 9:30 to let's just say noon, and then click done. And there we go. There's our submission. Again, you can't see employer description here, but if you go back to tables and work log, we will see that it's me that automatically populated here because I'm the user signed in to Honeycode right now with this email. And so it's showing me here, as well as my description is also on this screen, and it's not showing here just because we don't have the real estate on our phones for that. So now what I'm going to do is demonstrate how to use the mobile app to use this application that we just built, and I'll do so using my other user's account so that when we come back and see the form that they used, we will see my other email here that automatically populated because I'm signed in on my other account on the app. But first what we need to do is share this app with my other user. I already showed, once you go to Teams here, that they're on my team. However, I haven't shared this app with them, and we need to do that so that they can use it. So I'll go to the My Apps right here, and my app that I just created is called Worklog. This is just another app that I was working on. And right here, I'll click Share App, and I'll just type in the email of who I want it to do. So once I start typing in my name, you'll see my other email here, and it'll automatically populate the emails of your other teammates. So I'll just click on that and click Update. And so now that has been shared with the other user on my team, which is, again, just me. But I'll also note that only team members can access workbooks. Not everybody, so you want to make sure that they're on your team first before you're sharing that app with them. And just again, you can only have 20 members per your team with the free version, but you can always upgrade if you need it. So first, let's open up the Honeycode app and log in. On the phone, you get the Face ID login, which is super nice and easy. And upon logging in, now we can see that the work log app here with the time logger description under it, which is awesome. So let's click on that and fill out a form. First, I'll just see that other submission I made, but again, I only see these 4 columns that I specified earlier because I don't have a lot of real estate on this screen, so if I had more columns, it would just look really ugly and take up a lot of space. So these 4 are easy to look at a glance. Then let's just click Add here and fill out one. So for this one, I'll fill out Project A. Date, we'll do something memorable, like let's do Halloween. Description, we're going to do test on phone. Wow, test on phone. Time in, let's just do 8 a.m. and then timeout, we'll just do 8 p.m. Okay, then I click done and click done here. And awesome, now you can see that under my first submission, you can see my second one, Project A with Halloween and 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. And then let's go back and look at this on the computer. And here we are back on the computer again with the 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. They both show here. But now let's double check on our table and make sure that it looks good there. And it auto-populated the logged in user, which was my other account. So if we go to work logs here. Oh, wrong button. Sorry, this is new to me, so even I get lost for a second. So you click on this pencil right here next to your app. Click on tables and again our work log. And as you can see here, I'll even write this out. That second one I did with Project A on Halloween is the test on phone and automatically populated with that other email. Obviously, this is pretty simple and just showing another user. It's my same name, but you can see the other email. But if you're using this in a real world setting, obviously you'll have other names there, and you don't have to show the email because it's a little easier to tell. And again, I know it seems pretty basic, but if you have quite a few team members all working on different projects, it can be a really efficient and effective way to easily track what you're all doing and how much time it takes. Similar to this, you can also set up an app that just tracks their hours or set up a personal to-do list to help you keep track of all your personal tasks. So thank you for sticking with me through this and watching the tutorial on Honeycode, and I hope you find it helpful.